Hey everybody, sorry it's a little late here. Have been working on a couple of things. Excuse 1 second. Okay, hey Jennifer, I'm working on a couple of things, and I got a call from a gentleman, and I told him I'd take a look because if you guys are aware, we've got the issue now up in the city of Chicago dealing with the vaccination and testing requirement of the city employees of Chicago, and we're addressing the, let's call it the legitimacy of the document, I call it, i.e. Mayor Lightfoot calls the vaccination policy. And that's going to proceed. But it's in that same vein now that I'm being asked to look at the, and I've told some friends of mine some time ago I would do this. I'd just been kind of busy. The issue of what's going on with our Department of Corrections employees across the state. And I started the conversation with this gentleman. I won't say his name because he might want me to, but it wouldn't be proper without asking him. Started that same question with, as I did with every other case I've ever done. And this, guys, I need this to be one of the most important lessons. Hold on a second, you guys. Kayla, I'm not here to talk about teachers tonight, ma'am, okay? I have spent a lot of time on teachers. I'm still working on teachers. This is about a completely different topic, okay? The Department of Corrections. And so I started that conversation with these folks the same way I started the conversation with every other case, and I started the conversation with the city of Chicago, is if the people you are working for happen to be a government body, and they say you have to do something, or they say you can't do something, it's written someplace in the law. You guys, I have now changed some of the ways that I'm talking at these different events, and I'm going to go back to starting to give a basic lesson of how government works. And I am absolutely distraught, it's probably the best word I can come up with, over the last 2 years of how gullible people are. It's like, oh, somebody told me I have to do something, so I guess I got to do it. Guys, if that's how we're going to move forward in this country and in this state, let's just move on over to becoming run by tyrants, and we'll just become a monarchy. What the hell do we need to have a self-governed system of government with 3 branches of government if nobody's going to follow it? If I'm not going to stick with this much, but if the mayor of one of our biggest cities can just get on television and say, hey, here's my vaccination policy, you got to follow it, and nobody is going to question whether or not that's lawful, we're in trouble. Because see, this blank piece of paper, that's about as authoritative as the document that the mayor of Chicago is throwing around. Okay? I need you to remember, anytime, I'm going to say it over and over again, government says you have to do something or that you can't do something, it's got to be written someplace, because who has the power? The people have the power. And the only time government has it is if you've lent it to them in writing, somewhere in a law, somewhere in a regulation, somewhere they have to have been given that authority from you. Either in the Constitution of the state of Illinois or the United States, this is a state issue, Constitution of the state of Illinois, or a law from the legislature has given somebody some authority because you gave it up. So quit doing what the hell people tell you to do because somebody said you have to do it. That's what this country was all about until millions of people have fought and lost their lives to make us free. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox because I'm a little perturbed. And I'm still dealing with the same thing. Department of Corrections employees, if you're listening to me, and there's a lot of you, and I know a bunch of you, Please explain to me what document you're looking at that someone has given to you that is the authority that requires you to vaccinate or test. Now, I understand there's two components to this. Well, Tom, if we don't do it, we could potentially be reprimanded, put on non-administrative leave, all this coercion that these tyrants are doing that I can't stop today. I'm not your attorney general yet. Make it to me. I'll watch it go. You watch it go away then. I can't do that now. But today, I know you're dealing with the stress and the coercion and intimidation of these bullies, but set that aside for a second. What document are you looking at that is authoritative, compelling you to vaccinate or test? I have asked for it, and nobody can provide it to me. I don't know what it is yet. And I'm sitting here completely, utterly amazed that nobody's asked that question. I got friends that are watching this right now, and you guys are just, again, hardworking women and men working at the correctional facilities, and I challenge you. Where's the document, the authoritative document? Did it come from the central, CMS? Did they send you guys something? Department of Corrections send you guys something? Don't send me the executive order of the governor. I don't care about that. Somebody, somewhere, put something out. I hope the people that you work for didn't say, oh, you got to be vaccinated or tested, and verbally, and you go, okay, I guess I got to. Please don't tell me that. Where's it at in writing? I want to freaking see it, okay? I got to get it. Now, I'm looking at here. Here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the final opinion and award that the state of Illinois and your AFSCME council, when they got into the middle of arbitration fighting about this stuff. I've read this document, and I have my opinions about what I think of the defense that was put on by your AFSCME Council 31. I'm going to save my opinions for myself, but I'm reading it, and there's all kinds of problems that I think are in this document, right? You found yourself off in the middle of an arbitration process, which is questionable. We'll save that for a later day. But as I read this document, and it talks about the state's policy regarding vaccination and testing, I don't know what they're talking about. What policy? And that's why I told, Ryan, who you guys know is in the background, I'm like, I don't know. I can't help them yet, or even tell them if I can help them, or if it's too late potentially, because AFSCME got into this garbage. Because I don't know what the document is that's trying to compel the vaccination or the testing of these men and women. I need to see the document. If you guys have a memorandum from CMS that was sent to you, if you have some written policy of some, human resources director, the director of CMS, if somebody has sent you something that says you have to vaccinate or test, I need to see it, okay? I need to see it, because then once I read that, I can understand what all this garbage is about. Until then, I can't. And I got sent like 25 documents today from someone. None of them, everything else under the sun, including the very thing that I need to see. Does that make sense, guys? And again, if you're working for Department of Corrections, that's what I need you to do. Ask somebody. Can you show me the document that demands us to be vaccinated or tested? I don't want this arbitration award. You throw that thing in the garbage for right now. That's a separate conversation. I want to see, because back on August 26th of 2021, Governor Pritzker issued his executive order that says teachers in schools had to vaccinate. You saw what I did with that. That's gone. For my clients, at least. And every school district that I'm aware of right now that I've ever sued, except for 146 of them, remember in the first case? None of them are having to vaccinate. Governor's executive order, the 4th Appellate District of Illinois said his executive orders by themselves don't mean anything. So I got to have more than the executive order, you guys. I need some rule. I need something. I don't care if it's an email. It says Mickey Mouse says we got to vaccinate or test. I'm on Mickey Mouse. I just got back from Disney. Mickey Mouse says we got to test or vaccinate. I'm okay. Send me something. Because right now I don't have anything. And once you guys get me that, then I'll look at it and see if there's something we can do to stop this nonsense of threatening these, you guys to have to vaccinate or test, or you're going to get fired. It's ridiculous. The whole policy is ridiculous. And if I was Attorney General, I'd tear it to the ground in a heartbeat. But right now, I'm just one man trying to help everybody the best I can. And I can't do it if I don't know what you guys are being pushed with. I got to see it, okay? So let me look for a couple seconds here. I'll see if anybody asked. None of my, plain Jane, none of my teachers are being fired for anything. So I can't help everybody if they're not my client. I can't help them. People's getting fired. It's not the hundreds of teachers that I represent. Okay, you keep on doing that, Vicky. If Secretary of State mandates tests for unvaccinated, you're not under a mandate. Secretary of State can't make you vaccinate or test, but if you're not going to fight with them, then you just have to do what you think is best for you. But Secretary of State can't do anything. Trista asked the question, what about the deal between Pritzker and AFSCME? I don't know anything about a deal. I've heard from a lot of the members that AFSCME didn't do a great job of representing the members. I don't have any ability to validate that. I don't know. All I know is that I've read this arbitrators award that AFSCME represented everybody in. And with all due respect, I'm not so sure this would have been the route I would have taken, at least at the onset. I think there's different arguments that could have been made, but I digress, But whether or not it's too late to make some of these other legal arguments, I don't know until I can see, again, what was being relied upon to make you guys do this in the first place. And again, I understand that I'm being, because this is really the first time in most of your lives you probably had your government come cramming down on you like this. Guys, it's not that unusual. It's just at a grander scale right now than the public's used to seeing, and it's going to get worse. And so I need you all to start with that mentality. The rest of your life, if you never learned anything from Tom, is it's always documented someplace. And you got to at least start there. And they'll try to blow smoke up your ear and say, oh, here's our lawful authority right here. And it might be a menu from your local restaurant that they're trying to convince you is lawful. But okay, we'll have to deal with that as it comes. But right now I don't have anything. So if you work for Department of Corrections and you have made decisions in your life on this that you didn't want to make without really, truly trying to understand it, that's what I'm trying to help you with. And asking questions, even if you don't understand this stuff, you can still ask the questions. The question number one always is, show me where that's written, right? Show me where it's written. And that's what I need you guys to do right now, because nobody's been able to give it to me. I read this document again, and all it says is the state's policy for vaccination of the Department of Corrections workers. What policy? I need to see the policy. And then that's not the governor's executive order, I don't think. I hope there's more than that. If there's not more than that, you guys got some really good arguments we can make. I need to see what other policy they're talking about. Hopefully somebody got an email somewhere from CMS or Department of Corrections. That's what I need to see. I understand what they're doing, Brandon. I'm quite familiar with their tactics. It's a separate question what their tactics are. But, I can't do anything. I can't say anything until I see what it's all about. Well, Mary, I hate to tell you, the government can force medical treatment on citizens sometimes. Depends on the circumstances, depends on the issue. But vaccination can sometimes be a requirement of our citizens. If it ever happens, it happens by the legislature. The legislature of the states can, on occasion, depending on the circumstances, force its citizens to be vaccinated. We don't have to have that conversation of whether that's good or bad, because as of yet, there's not been any action by the legislature. And so we got all these other games going on trying to coerce citizens to be vaccinated or tested without action by the legislature. And that's where we got to make these arguments at. That's the ones that are winning. It's not whether vaccines are good or bad. It's not whether we should or shouldn't be. You start having those arguments, they can become a whole lot less effective right now. You got to have the argument on who gets to make that decision, who gets to call that ball. And it's not the governor. It's not the director of central management services. It's not any of these people. But I need to first know what policy there is, because then and only then can I read it and see what they're trying to rely upon to make you do that. Okay, Becca, if you think that they can't force a vaccination, then you go ahead and take your legal arguments to court, and you'll lose probably. But the legislature can force vaccinations. There's United States Supreme Court precedent on it. But if you think you know more, go for it. Okay, Abby, I'd appreciate that. Maybe that's a good start. I'm not sure what that email says, but if you send it to me, I'll take a look. But hopefully it's not just an email from his superior saying that the state's policy is we have to be vaccinated. Whatever this policy is, I want to see that policy. Again, it's got to be some memo. It could be a memo from CMS sometime after August 26th. It's something like that that has to exist. Okay, I think that's about it, guys. So like I said, I didn't have a whole lot else other than I'm looking at the Department of Correction thing, okay? Brian, you make a fair point on vaccinations. If it's still an experimental vaccination, that could be a factor that could be discussed on the propriety of legislation. But as a general proposition, legislatively, citizens can be, under certain circumstances, required to vaccinate, absent a religious or a medical exemption. That's always an exception. Your children are required to vaccinate right now before they can go to school, absent a religious or medical exemption. Your children are required to be vaccinated for certain things before they can enter a college in the state of Illinois. Medical people are required to get a vaccination for certain things before they can work in healthcare. There's all kinds of reasons you can force vaccinations for public health. But again, we don't have to have that conversation right now, you guys. Let it go. Whether you can do it or can't. Why are you arguing about something that hasn't happened? The legislature hasn't acted. So use your energy to argue about something that might actually make a difference. Right now, that doesn't matter, okay? Healthcare world's in limbo right now, given the United States Supreme Court ruling that the Medicaid providers have to, can be subjected to those. So that case is still pending. But healthcare, that's a whole ball of wax right now. Okay, guys, I think that's it. So try to get me that. If somebody gets it to me, I'll take a look at it and I'll talk to the people I'm talking to. But I can't do anything whatsoever until somebody somewhere in the state of Illinois says, Tom, this is the policy that requires Department of Corrections employees to be vaccinated. I got to see that, okay? Have a